As much as we use things like text messaging and really short sentences to communicate, there is still, especially in academics, and you are now in higher education, there is a writing standard that you should achieve and work towards achieving. And true academic writing doesn't waste time in the writing with a bunch of fillers and what I call on and ons. Like each sentence, and it sounds crazy, but each sentence in academic writing has to be a solid sentence. Remember, one of the 4 agreements that I discussed in the online course essentials module is be impeccable with your word, and that includes what you write and how you write it. And so over the course of like 20 years that I have been teaching in higher education, I have continued to refine and create strategies within my classes where writing can be strengthened. But obviously this is not a writing class. I'm not an English professor, but writing sociologically in the kind of the scientific way, but also with a personal touch is really important. So I've devised this kind of strategy where instead of responding to a prompt and being able to write as much as you want, which used to happen in the past, and some people would write extensively, the more you write, the more mistakes you can make, and then it can get really messy. So your replies to the prompt are to be 5 sentences only. Now there's a methodology I think that works, is you write a paragraph with the 5 sentences, and then you go to the end of every sentence and you hit a hard return. So then you'll have these sentences each on their own line. Then you look at each sentence individually. Are the I's crossed? Some people don't even use a capital I. You got to have a capital I, have the punctuation. Like, look at each sentence. They don't have to be lengthy sentences, or they could be. But look at each sentence. Make sure they're all readable. Make sure one is not like 5 times longer than another, unless it's an important part of communication. But really, I would say in scientific writing, you're not going to have quick little sentences that you might get in creative writing. Like, one of the things about reading a textbook or reading articles or anything like that, journal articles, is it really does teach you how to write. It will give you this vibe. If I call it the vibe, the writing vibe, the writing flow of how it goes. And it also involves reading and reviewing your sentence over and over again. Yeah, and it seems redundant, but it's just, you can ask anyone who's doing any type of writing. They are going to tell you that the reviewing and the editing process is the harder part. Writing is this free flow of ideas, but then being able to tighten it up and make it really strong. So that's what we're doing. Now, there are, you have also 3 replies to other students. I'm very lenient on that. Like, write as much as you want, as long as it's at least 1 sentence. But definitely write in a professional tone. This is the type of interaction that you'll be having with colleagues and things throughout your career. So you want to be able to not be too informal, but then also not be so formal. So there's like formal discourse and there's like informal discourse. And we're going for more of a formal, but it doesn't have to be overly formal. But just make sure you're reviewing your sentences as well. But for the reply to, when you post the reply to one of the prompts, that needs to be 5 sentences. Not 6, not 7, not 8, not 3. If there's any deviation from that, you will lose points. What this does, it does require that you will go back and review what you've written and actually count the sentences. Counting the sentences makes you review it again, and I want you to read it out loud. You've got to learn to type. That's one thing as you continue, you've got to learn to type.